Hello, this is Adam with Go by Go. Today I'm going to show you how to install the Budgie desktop on Pop! OS. So, I love the way Pop! OS does a few things in the background, and but I also love the Budgie desktop. So Pop! OS out of the box, you can pretty much only get it with GNOME. And while I am a GTK guy, I am not a GNOME guy. There's actually very few of the GNOME apps that I will use or do use. I mean, I could use them. I can use everything with GNOME. It's just I prefer other apps besides GNOME. So here's GNOME here first. Let me go ahead and I'll change the resolution here. I'm going to do 16:9. That is my native resolution. There we go. And we will close this. Alright, and also, to save your eyes, this blue background. I love the background, it's just this blue is a little nuts. So I guess this is the start of our here, we'll use this one because I love that little graphic. So this is the start of how I tweak my Pop! OS build. Alright, so this is GNOME. I'm not a big GNOME fan. I don't like how it kind of takes over everything when you just open here, then you gotta click here, and here's your apps. And I know there's shortcuts and stuff, but like I said, I'm not really a GNOME guy. And there's a bunch of apps I don't like the Nautilus file browser I'm not into. As far as the text editor, I don't like the GNOME text editor. I don't even like their terminal very much. There's, I'm kind of picky. You could kind of leave this, but we're going to go ahead and install Budgie. Now, Budgie is based off of GNOME, so I don't have to uninstall GNOME. It's going to use a lot of features from GNOME. So, what I'm going to do is first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install LightDM. Out of the box, Pop! OS comes with GDM, and GDM's fine. It's the GNOME Display Manager. It's fine. It works. LightDM, I've had a lot more success, especially when I'm using things that aren't just straight GNOME. So we're going to do LightDM. We're going to do the Budgie desktop. Now we're not going to do the if you see here, you could do the whole desktop environment or desktop minimal. We're just going to do desktop. Like I said, a lot of the stuff is already there with GNOME and with Pop! OS in general. So I don't need the whole environment. We're just going to do desktop, and it's going to look ugly out of the box, but we're going to do some tweaks to it. Let's see. I also don't like gedit, so I'm just going to put Pluma. And I like Terminator as my terminal emulator. And let's see. For my files and app search, Synapse. And for my file manager, I'll use Kazaa, which is actually going to pull in a bunch of Mate stuff, but that's fine. It's not going to affect anything. I like how Kazaa is. Does a lot of features that I use. And to be honest, I'm not much in, I don't use the file managers much, but when I do, I like the features that Kazaa have. I'm going to do a whole video on file managers and how to use them and everything else. So, okay, let's go ahead. 182. I'm not on the fastest connection, so this may take a bit. Alright, so while that's going, okay, so this is basically asking about the display manager. It's going to ask, do you still want to use GDM or Light DM? We're going to use Light DM. And what I noticed too is right after you install everything, before you reboot, you should really, even though it's going to be still on GDM, you should log in once with the Budgie desktop, then reboot, and Light DM should work. So almost done here. Okay, and that should pretty much pulled everything we want in there. Now I'm gonna just get rid of a few things we don't need. Like I said, there is let's see, gedit. And we're not going to remove Nautilus, only because there's a lot of hooks that Pop and GNOME uses, and I've noticed that it kind of messes things up, but we can just hide it and forget about it, and we should be okay. What else do we want to get rid of? Oh, GNOME terminal, because I do not like the GNOME terminal at all. I think I've just got so used to Terminator over the years. Okay, move, yes. And that should be it. So now, we're going to first log out. And it's going to be in the GDM, GNOME Display Manager. And, come on. So, but like I said, is you want to log in first, one time, like this, and then after a reboot you'll use Light DM. So there we go. Okay, and now this is probably the ugliest out of the box budgie setup ever, but we're going to change that right now. So first things first, let's go ahead and we are going to go into our budgie desktop settings. For widgets, we're going to use Pop Dark, and you'll see it'll change. There it is. For icons, let's use. I like Humanity Dark. The pop icons are nice too, but let's go ahead and use that. Cursors, we'll just use Pop. And I like to toggle on and off this dark theme. Right now, yes, the dark theme is there, but I've noticed if you don't toggle off and on the first time you log in, sometimes some windows are light, some are dark. It gets a little squirrely. That's okay. We got this. Fonts we're going to leave here. That's just going to pull defaults. Raven menu. The one thing I like, if you open up the Hello Raven menu, there you go. Down at the bottom here, that was the notification section. Down at the bottom, I like to put in this power strip, and you'll see you can quickly get to your locking and log out and everything there. So that's nice to have. To be honest, I don't use it much, but it's nice to be there. Okay, Windows. I like to center my new windows in the center of the screen all the time. Let's see, that's the only change we need to make there. And now here comes the real changes. Okay, so first things first, we're going to get rid of the spacer. Yep, remove. And we'll get rid of that one. Yep, remove. And there's notifications. Okay, so I use the Raven menu a lot, and you'll see there's a notification there. You can open it, and what's it going to open? The Raven menu. And you'll see the little pop-up for the notifications. The only thing this is here for is if there's a notification that you did not see, it will be red. I'm sure you just saw that before I clicked it. But I like when notifications pop up. They pop up, I like them to go away, and I don't like to know about it. I'll go look at my notifications when I want to. So I get rid of that. Remove clock. I move all the way to the left. Budgie menu, I move to the center. I'll show you why, and I'll explain why. Reason why I do it. Let's see, icon list. We're going to take this off because I'm going to make a panel on the left side here, or as a dock. So let's get rid of this guy. Okay, and that's pretty much my setup for this top bar. Well, the budgie, what I do is I'll change this icon. We'll leave it as the gnome foot for now, but I'll change it. Usually what I do is I have a little tux penguin. I'll show you on my main system after we close this out. I'll show you that, and I use that little tux penguin. I pull that in with all my settings in my from my backup. Let's see, I like to show headers. So right now, here's what the menu looks like, and this just shows all. But what I like to do is show headers. So that way, here's accessories, office, so on. And I also like rollover mouse. So when I am in here, if I go accessories, graphics, see everything I roll over, it automatically just opens. So I like that little feature, so we'll keep that on. And let's see, we're going to go into our settings here. I usually keep my top menu at about 26. So anything lower than that, I've noticed that these icons do not really change. So you'll see, I'll go down to 16, they didn't really change much. 26 is pretty much where they're at. So if I go up from there, you'll see they start growing in size. So we'll just make it 26. That's pretty much where the bar's happy, and I don't really use much of the bar anyway. So we're going to make it transparent always. We're going to get rid of that shadow, and now it looks nice and smooth there. You don't even really know it's there besides the icons. Alright, so that's done. Now we're going to create a new panel, and we are going to move this to the left, and I like this at about 56. And automatically hide, I set to automatic, and transparency always, and to get rid of the shadow, and it's dock mode. Now the only applet I put on this is icon task list. There it is. So the only one that's going to be in here now is whatever I have open, which in this case is the budgie desktop. I like to do show windows on click, and that's pretty much it. That's almost the whole setting right there. Now the only thing I need to do is pull in my items. So if you notice, I installed Kazaa, and actually let's open up Terminator because we need this over here. So I'm going to lock in place with the little favorite icon. But if you notice, Kazaa, it's there, and might as well lock it over here now. But what shows up in the menu is, if we open this, it's Nautilus, or GNOME files. What do they call it today? Oh, they just call it files, but I know it's Nautilus. And I don't really like Nautilus, but it's funny how in the menu it will not show Kazaa if Nautilus is installed. But for whatever reason on Pop! OS, if you uninstall Nautilus, you're gonna have a bad day. So what we need is a menu editor. So let's close all this out, and we'll do it in the Pop Shop, which I love the Pop Shop. Usually I install everything through Terminal, but the Pop Shop is great for discovery. I've actually found a lot of programs in the Pop Shop or actually even other application managers. I found a lot of cool stuff just opening up and kind of going through. And PopShop, they have it nice categorized, but right now we're looking for menu editor. And we have to go all the way down to M. Oh, I passed it because the scrolling is a little crazy. Here we go. Menu editor, install. Man, it is much slower too in the graphical app centers and stuff. Okay, so menu editor's in there. Let's go menu editor. Okay, so we're going to add Kazaa in here. So we're just going to go add launcher, and the command is Kazaa, and we're going to name it. And we'll change the icon, and we could use folder. Okay, that looks nice, and we will save it. So now, if I open up, there it is. So, it's a weird little quirk. It's, like I said, kind of like Nautilus kind of like wants to take over. And, you know, if you try to uninstall it, you'll kind of have a bad day. So, alright, so what else do we want in there? We'll put Firefox in here. So, right now it's really a matter of opening an app, saving it to the side, closing it down. Because this is more of a taskbar than a launcher. But you could save things to it, so that way you can launch it later on. Yes, close tabs. And I'll add a few other things here, but that's pretty much it. And you know, if I have something open and maximize it, you see that menu went away unless I kind of mouse over and make it come back. Let's see, let's make this a little nicer. So what I'll usually do is I'll make this about, come on, 130 by 40. That's good enough. Center that a little more, and I'm going to add transparency to this. So I'll go profiles, background, transparency. We'll bump this up to about 90 is good. There's the transparency. Now let's save this by going to layouts, and I'll save this as the layout. Close that, close that. There we go. Okay, the only other thing at this point is really just kind of shortcuts and stuff, but there's one other thing I want to show you, and I use this a lot with, where'd it go? That was very odd. So this Synapse, basically it's a finder. And I use this a lot with my OpenBox setups. And this is where I'm going to get into why I put the menu in the center. So on my OpenBox setups, I use this guy to find my files. I'm going to have to do a video on how I set up OpenBox. Right now, I'm playing around with a setup of OpenBox on Solus OS, because there's no real out-of-the-box OpenBox setup, and I don't think anybody's actually done a tutorial or anything on that. So I'm actually in the process of doing that. And but what I do is with my open box setup, I'm always focused on the center. If you notice, as I was going through the setups in the budgie setups, let's open up budgie setups again, and over here under Windows, where'd it go? Here we go, center new windows on screen. So I always do that because every time I open a window, I want it centered. I will eventually snap it to the left or right or down in the lower quadrants or upper quadrants. I'll snap it around, but when I first open an app, I want it right in the center. My focus is always right in the center. This little menu, it's right in the center. If I open up Terminator, it's right in the center. So it got me thinking, well, instead of using this little guy, what if I just put the menu right in the center? And I did it one day, and I've always had it ever since. So, but yeah, this is pretty much my setup. I do other little tweaks, like I'll bring in different themes. Like I said before, I bring in different icons, and I make a nice little conky on the right side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this guy down, because this is pretty much the whole setup. I'm going to shut it down, and I'm going to show you my regular desktop where it's all set up. So we'll shut this down. It's going to take a second here. Okay. And close that, get rid of that. And if you see here, so here's my setup. So here's my panel on the side, which the only thing different now is here's a virtual box. My OBS is running. I have this little P sensor, which this is a great little program too, by the way. Grab this, but it's a temp monitor essentially, so I always have that running. Here's my conky over here, so you can see I have a nice little conky showing everything that I need showing at all times. Like I said, I have my Snapsy here, but I also have my menu right in the center. There's my kanji setup, as you can see, or kaja, or kaza, or how do you say? Kaja, I guess? I don't know. But that's the file manager I've always used now. That's built by the Mate desktop, and I like it a lot. The one thing I don't like, actually, let me just show you. So if you right click, you don't have an open in terminal, or like an open as super user or anything like that, which that's the only annoyance I have. But some of the features on this is great, and I was going to save this for another video, but I might as well throw it in here now. So I do a lot of stuff with I have little test servers here and there, and the nice thing I could do is for fast file management from, let's say, we'll pick a little server I have at home. This is wonderful. Let's see. We'll log into this little guy. We'll use SSH. And the folder we'll log into is my home / user. We'll just do the whole home directory. And password. And we're going to add a bookmark. And I'll call this home server. And connect. And it's going to use my SSH key and everything else, and it's going to log in. And the great thing about this is I've made a little bookmark here, so I can open this, and then in Kaja I could do extra pane, which is by default it's F3. You just press F3 and it'll open. Actually, there it is. So now on the left side, I have my server at home, and on this side, I could go ahead and I could go to this computer here and stretch that over. So let's say I just wrote something in my bin folder here and I want it over here. I could easily just well, let's see, what's one I know that's not on there? I think this one. So we'll copy that and go over here, and I could just go paste that in, and now I have that on both computers here. Yes, I know you could just do it from the terminal and just you know, SCP the files in, but this is actually a nice visual way of seeing that. So that's a little something I do. So to exit that, I could go like that. Now I'm not logged into it anymore. I'm actually going to just remove that. And that's one of the features I like about Kajah. I mean, I know it's annoying that you can't right click and go open terminal, which I think, do I still have Nautilus on here? Yep, I do. So files. So like on here, if I right click, I could do open in terminal, and I'm right at wherever I was. So if I was in games here and I want to, you know, type something in here, I can. It brings me right to that folder. And that's the one feature that Kajah does not have, but it's easy enough. If I was in here and I could go like this, you know, copy that, go into my terminal, you know, I could just CD paste that in. It's not the end of the world. It's, you know, if I have to open up, like some people like where you can right click and open as sudo, well, I could just simply sudo Kajah, and there you go, I'm in as root. So the other functionalities of it and the way it works and looks, you know, if I control T, I could open up tabs here. I could switch between tabs. So if I have my desktop on one tab, documents on another tab, and music on another tab, and I could just switch tabs. So it does tabbing. It does that, you know, side-by-side pane with F3. It's more than what I need. I could get past the the right click to go to terminal. No big deal. What else can I show? I mean, that's pretty much the whole shebang there. But hey, if you like it, there you go. If you want to see me do more on the budgie desktop, like do more on the budgie desktop. If you want to see more on Solus and that open box thing I was talking about, well, that's coming up soon. Hopefully soon. I gotta work out a few little quirks and bugs that I found, but it all pretty much works. It's just I gotta find a way to make it easier for everybody to understand. But other than that, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it, and I should hopefully get more of these videos out soon. Alright, have a good one.